Hello, I'm Miss Sage and welcome to Family Storytime. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Check us out on the Sewickley Public Library YouTube channel. We have Babies and Books on Tuesday, Stories for 2s and 3s on Wednesday, Preschool Storytime on Thursday, and then more Family Storytime on Friday. All the Storytimes air at 9:30 in the morning. I'd like to thank Marshall Cavendish Children, Dutton Children's Books, and Capstone Press for their permission to read their books. Let's start off by singing our hello and welcome song, Everybody Have a Seat. Everybody have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Everybody have a seat on the rug. Not on the ceiling, not on a bug. Everybody have a seat on the rug. So friends, today we are reading books all about apples. Do you like apples? I do, and I'm excited to share some really good books with you today. Our first story is called An Apple Pie for Dinner, retold by Susan Van Heck, illustrated by Carol Baker McGee. One day, old Granny Smith wanted an apple pie for dinner. She looked around her cozy kitchen. She had flour and butter. She had sugar and spices. But there was one thing she didn't have. She didn't have any apples. Granny Smith had plums, lots of plums, a tree full of purple plums, but you can't make an apple pie from plums. I might find someone who has apples but needs plums, Granny thought. So she filled a big basket with plums from her tree, then she put on her bonnet, she pulled on her shawl, and she set off. Soon Granny met some chickens and a goose in the road. Cluck, cluck, honk, honk, the noisy birds squawked. A young woman was feeding them. I have some plums, Granny said to the woman, but I need some apples. Do you have any apples? Oh, my family likes plum jam best, the woman said, but all I have are feathers. Will you take feathers for your plums? Yes, said kind old Granny, if the plums will make your family happy. And she traded her purple plums for a bag of fluffy feathers. Thank you, said the woman. Granny smiled and continued on her way. Soon Granny came to a beautiful garden where she heard a girl and a boy arguing. Cotton, yelled the girl. Straw, shouted the boy. May I help, asked Granny. Mama is making a pillow. I think cotton is the best stuffing. My brother thinks straw is best, said the girl. Feathers make the best stuffing, said Granny. They're softer than cotton and straw. Here. Granny reached into her basket. She gave the bag of fluffy feathers to the children. Thank you, they said. I'm looking for apples, Granny said. Do you have any? We don't have any apples, said the two children, but here are some sweet-smelling flowers. Granny smiled and continued on her way. Soon Granny met a young prince dressed in his finest clothes. He was going to see his lady love, but he looked sad. May I help you, asked Granny. I forgot the ring for my lady. It's too late to turn back, so I have no gift for her, said the prince. Here's a gift for her, said Granny. She handed the prince the sweet-smelling flowers. Thank you, he said. I'm looking for apples, said Granny. Do you have any? I don't have apples, the prince said, but here's a gift for you. He gave Granny a gold coin from his pocket. Granny smiled and continued on her way. Soon she came to a yard where a mother and her children were crying. What's the matter, Granny asked. We're hungry, sobbed the mother. We have no money for food. Take this, said Granny. She gave the mother the gold coin. Use it to buy food. Thank you, the mother said. I'm looking for apples, Granny said. Do you know where I might find some? We don't have any apples, said the children, but we have pups that need good homes. Granny put a small brown dog in her basket. She smiled and continued on her way. Soon Granny came to a house where she saw an old man sitting on a bench. He looked unhappy. "I'm lonely," he cried. "You need a dog to keep you company," Granny said. She lifted the puppy from her basket. Woof, woof! The puppy ran to the man and jumped in his lap. Thank you," said the old man. "I'm looking for apples," Granny said. "Do you have any?" "Yes," said the old man. "I grow them in my orchard." And he took her to some apple trees. Thank you, Granny said. She filled her basket with shiny apples, green ones and red ones. Granny smiled and set off for home. On her way, she invited everyone she had met to follow her. In Granny's kitchen, they all worked together to bake a pie. They peeled and sliced the apples. They added some spices. They rolled out the dough and filled the crust. Then Granny popped the pie in the oven. Soon the pie was done. The crust was golden brown. The juices bubbled. The warm smell of cinnamon filled the kitchen. Everyone sat down and yum, yum, what a delicious pie. Granny looked around the table and smiled. If you try and try, Granny said to herself, you can always have an apple pie for dinner. And together, they ate every last crumb. The end. All right, friends, I have a great apple song for you. It's called Way Up High in the Apple Tree. Can you pretend like you're picking some apples? Put them up in the tree. Way up high in the apple tree, 2 little apples were smiling at me. I shook that tree as hard as I could. Down came the apples and were they good. Let's do it one more time. Put your apples up. Way up high in the apple tree, 2 little apples were smiling at me. I shook that tree as hard as I could. Down came the apples and were they good. Let's read another apple book. This one is called Apple Harvest. Fall is here. It's fall. Cool breezes blow through the apple orchard trees. Look at all those apple trees growing together. Red apples hang down from the woody branches. The ripe apples are ready to be picked. Fall is harvest time. Picking apples. Farmers pick the apples by hand. Workers sort the apples by flavor. The apples are put into bags for shoppers to buy. You can have fun with apples. Apples make fun treats. Crisp caramel apples are sticky and sweet. Hot apple cider warms you up on a cold day. And look, another apple pie. Apple slices fill the inside of apple pies. The apple harvest has begun. What are other signs that it's fall? Do you notice the leaves on the ground? Maybe you'll go apple picking with your family this year. I have another apple song for you. It goes, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little apples, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little apples, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little apples, 10 little apples in the apple tree. Our last apple story is called Apple Farmer Annie by Monica Wellington. Annie is an apple farmer. She has a big orchard of apple trees. In the fall, she picks baskets and baskets of round, ripe apples. See your little kitty cat in the tree? She grows many kinds of apples. She sorts and organizes them. Annie uses some of the apples to make sweet apple cider. Yum. Looks like here's her machine for pressing the apples into cider. She uses others to make delicious, smooth applesauce. She loves baking muffins, cakes, and pies with her apples. I think her pets are really interested in all her treats too. But she saves the most beautiful ones of all to sell fresh at the market. She loads everything into her truck and drives to the city. Can you spot Annie's truck on the bridge? Annie the apple farmer sets up her stand in the farmer's market. She has her pies, her applesauce, her muffins, her different kinds of apples for sale. Lots of customers come to Annie's stand. She is busy all day long. By the end of the day, she has sold everything. She packs up to go home. Annie is tired but happy. It feels so good to have her own apple farm. The end. I have a song for you called The Little Apple Seed. Here it goes. Once a little apple seed was planted in the ground. Down came the soft rain falling all around. Out came the sun as bright could be, and that little apple seed grew to be an apple tree. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. Our last song is our goodbye song, The More We Get Together. The more we get together, 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 the more we get together, the happier we'll be. For your friends are my friends, and my friends are your friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. See you next time.